Ooh. Well, guys, it's been exactly a month since our last episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been Hold up. Okay, I didn't want the echo. Sorry, guys, we're kind of noobs. First off, this episode is brought to you by the FCC and specifically the worst Indian American in the world, Ajit Pai.
Well, I mean, there's you, but yeah, I guess he's a close second.
Okay. I wasn't going to say anything racist, but fuck you, Fossil. Well, today we have a really great guest. I said it at the end of last episode, but if you weren't able to tune in, we will get this one on YouTube tomorrow. So we have Captain Jackass joining us for conspiracy theories in the latter half of tonight's podcast. It's going to be very fun. So, we're playing the Suns right now. Well, not us, but the Mavs.
No, we actually are.
Yeah, we're physically playing. This is a 2K game.
Yeah, don't you see me out there?
3 of the 5 players on the court are us.
I am Devin Booker.
I wish I was Tyson Chandler.
Actually, don't we all wish we were Tyson Chandler? That dude is fly as shit.
Yeah, but also he plays for the Suns. So not really.
But he used to play for the Mavs.
True. I'd want to be him if he played for the Mavs.
Tangent topic. Why do the Suns change their uniforms every season?
I don't know, man. They've had their last look was fine, you know. I don't know why they changed it for Nike. Like those would look fine with Nike.
Shout out to
They just added way
MFFL
too
14.
many colors. What the hell is that, Josh Jackson?
All right, that's kind of a great segue into a question that we've been asked. My friend Wutzel. Galiba! The Wurzburg Wall!
What a lob, dude.
God
It looks like
damn.
he could be on One Direction.
Dude is legit dashing, man.
I love him. I see Cleveland.
He's pretty hot.
I
I've been
know.
on him since
Toss.
they signed him.
I would swing that way just for him, honestly. I'm sorry, we live in Texas. I'm not supposed to say that. All right, so let's start out with the Suns, and then we can kind of build into the Mavericks, because I know the Mavericks topics are going to bleed into conspiracy theories a little bit, but we'll get to that. So Wutzel in Phoenix asks, there's a lot of different stuff that's really interesting about the Suns right now. First off, they don't have a head coach that's going to be in place for a couple of years, so that's going to be something that they have to deal with over the offseason. Do you have any ideas of who you want as a head coach in Phoenix?
That's a good question. Honestly, my first instinct when they fired Earl Watson was give Jay Triano a chance, and not just because we share the same name, but
I'm sorry, I'm upset.
Jay Triano was the head coach of Toronto for at least a couple of years, if I remember correctly, and he did a decent job with them. He's not like the biggest name in coaching, but I think he's pretty decent. But otherwise, I'm trying to think who might be a decent coach for them. Come back to me in a second. Dave Fizdale, yeah, he might actually be the perfect coach to bridge them from their rebuild to, I guess, getting back to being a playoff team.
Yeah.
Hey, and thanks to Justin Timberlake and the ownership team over there, he doesn't have a job anymore. So.
Yeah, well, more so I think Robert Pera. I think Justin Timberlake is kind of a
Lame
an
duck.
afterthought in the ownership.
Maybe.
But nevertheless, I'm sure he has some sort of decision-making power.
Yeah, but if I was coaching the Suns though, I would they've got a lot of young athletic guys, and I would try to go run the floor with them. So I don't know. Is there anybody who's of course Wes hits that shot, but is there anybody who's open to coaching fast-paced stuff like that? Because
Yeah,
we mentioned Fizdale, but
I have one in mind,
he coached
actually.
the Grizzlies,
Yeah.
which is pretty slow-paced.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's exactly a fit for these players. Who do you have in mind, Rohan?
Kobe Bryant.
Mark Jackson, actually. Mark Jackson.
Yeah, I think Phoenix has the type of players that would buy into what he's selling. Of course, we all kind of know how it happened with the Warriors, but he deserves a lot of credit for their success. So yeah. He would be a good fit there in Phoenix too.
Nice.
I think it's really unfortunate. First off, MFFL 14 recommends we stop screaming because a lot of people are wearing headphones.
Oh shit!
So,
sorry.
yeah, sorry about that. Just Kleba got us kind of riled up a little bit. We don't have young Dirk Nowitzki anymore, unfortunately.
This is the best thing we've got, which is really fucking sad.
Hey, man, suck dick for Doncic. I mean,
Okay, we live in Texas. Remember that.
Dude, that's a charge, man.
hey, our team's colors are blue, man. So the reason I think Mark Jackson would be a really good fit is primarily because he's not afraid to lose for the sake of development. And honestly, I think that's what got him fired in Golden State. That and the fact that Steve Kerr was looking for a job around the same time.
Jackson kind of had an ego, though. He always has.
Yeah, but I think maybe you need somebody with an ego running the X's and O's for this team.
Yeah,
because it really seems like they don't have an identity right
really
now.
don't.
Just a bunch of young guys, yeah.
And
Honestly.
Tyson Chandler.
Who, by the way, just got it stolen from him.
Yeah, but that's a good point. I think one of the reasons Mark Jackson got fired was just his lack of playoff success, despite having the roster that he did. But I don't think I could have foreseen anybody, choosing Steve Kerr as the coach to take them to the next level. Because keep in mind that Steve Kerr had never coached a game in the NBA prior to that point.
Yeah.
So
I think it is a lot about setting up a culture, which is why Kerr worked out so well. I don't think he's a great X's and O's coach, but I think he has a great team behind him. I mean, just look at Alvin Gentry and Luke Walton being on his assistants for his first 2 years.
Yeah, I just think he probably wowed them with his vision, in the interviews. And
this is kind of blending the topic from the Suns to the Mavs, but one of the other reasons that I think Mark Jackson would be so good for that team is because I think he would help Josh Jackson a lot. If you look at Harrison Barnes, he played his best years in Golden State under Mark Jackson when the system was working in transition. And I really think that'll help Josh Jackson because he is athletically leaps and bounds over Dragan Bender, for example. So I think that might space the floor out a little bit for all of their young players.
Yeah. I could also see Jason Kidd maybe if he gets fired by Milwaukee, because I think if Milwaukee underachieves in the playoffs again this year, he's going to get fired. I think a lot of Bucks fans are starting to get impatient with him just due to his general uncreativity with the offense and his.
I don't know. My biggest problem with Kidd is he just plays really weird lineups.
Yeah,
I can't get over that.
I have a theory about that actually. I think he's a wannabe Carlisle because he played for the Mavericks, and throughout his tenure, I have a friend who's a Bucks fan, and he always complains about how it was like Gary Payton II starting, and I can't remember the other guy, but basically in Tony Snell's absence, he's been starting really weird, almost incompetent players at shooting guard, and it kind of takes me back to the Mavericks days, not to say these players are incompetent, but I don't know if you guys remember in 2009, when the Mavericks had their starting lineup, and it was all the usual guys like Kidd, Dirk, Howard. But then you had Antoine Wright starting at shooting guard, and back then I was always like, why isn't Terry starting? Terry's clearly the better player. That was kind of before I understood a lot about six men and whatnot. But or Deshaun Stevenson. Deshaun Stevenson's a great player, but clearly in the starting five of Marion, Dirk, Kidd, and Chandler, he was the least talented player out of that bunch. But it worked because they were actually decent players, and it was Carlisle.
Everybody knew their roles.
Yeah. The Bucks don't really have that identity outside of Giannis and maybe Chris Middleton. So.
And the biggest offense, I feel, is instead of playing Giannis at a smaller position where I feel like he does more damage, instead Cade likes to slide him up to the power forward, which, it's Giannis. It'll work, but I don't feel like you're utilizing him to his best.
Right. And of course he's playing point forward most of the time, so his matchups are going to be really interesting. Yeah, he has the speed to get around those guys. But do you really want somebody that can obscure his vision as his matchup? MFFL 14 has another note. Monty Williams would be a really good coach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he, it would be worth giving him a shot. Although he hasn't been a head coach of a team since New Orleans, and he did an okay job with New Orleans, but.
I thought he was doing better towards the end of his time then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I could be wrong. I kind of blank
I agree
towards some of that
too.
stuff.
I think if they had given him one more season, they would have seen more benefits. I don't think hiring Alvin Gentry after Monty Williams was a good decision, but NBA front offices are less competent than we'd like to think.
Honestly. Another question on the Suns front, but it's a little bit of a comparison with the Mavs right now. The Mavs are in the process of getting or acquiring young players, right? But Phoenix has been doing this for a while. I mean, like we mentioned before, they have Dragan Bender, Josh
Oh, dude,
Jackson.
Phoenix has so much talent. I don't know why it hasn't worked out yet.
Yeah, I just think there's no real vision for how any of these guys fit together. Like, oh, come on, HB, dunk it.
Oh,
What was that?
at least they got the ball back.
Yeah, like Len and Bender, like, I don't think you could play the two of them together. Then they have Chris off the bench, who I like a lot. I like Marquise Chris.
He fits the modern game almost perfectly.
Yeah.
As long as he can get that 3-point shot up, I feel like he would be amazing.
Yeah, because he's
a
really
very
athletic.
versatile
He's a really versatile player. He checks all the boxes in that regard. But I guess shooting is still an issue for him.
After the Eric Bledsoe trade, who do you think is going to be their starting point guard for the future? What move do you think they have to make?
Draft.
Draft?
Yeah.
Probably. Like, Tyler Ulis is a really good player, but he probably projects more as, like, a super talented backup. And they've got that Mike James dude, but he's, like, already, 27? So
Yeah, and also, again, like, I don't think he's big enough or skilled enough to be a starting point guard.
Yeah, in terms of, like, upside, he probably doesn't have that much.
He reminds me kind of Seth Curry, but I haven't really watched Mike James too much, aside from the Summer League.
It's really confusing to me how the Suns organization has traded its players recently, or at least how they've mismanaged them.
Yeah.
Because point guard wasn't an issue 3 years ago.
They had, Bledsoe, Isaiah Thomas, and Dragic?
Yeah.
How do you mismanage that level of talent?
Managed to run them all out of town.
Exactly.
I mean, I know there are a lot of clamors, like, outside and inside of Phoenix for Robert Sarver to step down
sell
as
the team.
owner. Yeah, sell the team, because he's clearly not a popular guy. We've seen his run-ins with players during games and stuff. So, and I don't know, he just doesn't seem particularly motivated to make that team better. He lucked out with Steve Nash and Amari and Sean Marion, but then after that, hasn't done a good job of being aggressive enough to acquire talent. And he's just kind of gotten whatever's fallen in his lap, but never really put together any other pieces to bring it all together.
I feel that. Now, when it comes to the worst teams in the West this season, do you think that they're actually as bad as their records say? Or do you think that the West being so top-heavy this year again makes them look worse than they really are?
I don't know, like, purely talent-wise, I feel like a few of these teams on the bottom aren't as bad as their record indicates, yet like we just said, but also at the same time, like, look at the level of production for some of these teams, like the Mavs. Let's just take the Mavs. They've got a pretty decent amount of talent, but the league as a whole has gotten so much more talented lately.
Yeah.
And like, just the level of cohesiveness with all the injuries and whatnot. There's a lot of factors to take into account, and just flat out level of production, it's not cutting it. They kind of deserve to be at the bottom.
Yeah,
I
I think 10 years ago this team could definitely compete for the playoffs and maybe even make it, but not anymore. Like Fazio said, the collective talent of the NBA has increased so much in the last 5 years that the Mavs just can't compete with that unless they have one single dominant guy.
Like, there's kind of I'd say there's a disconnect between what we as the fans intuitively know is like a talented group like these Mavs and what it actually takes to compete nowadays.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, as much as I hate to say it, they lack an identity right now. I mean, obviously they're in a transitional phase in their franchise, but Harrison Barnes is a good player, but I don't know if he's the guy that will lead you to success in the future. So I think they really got to focus on developing Dennis right now and hoping that they can get someone really solid in the draft this season and start to build their identity that way.
I'm going to hit pause on the roundtable real quick and give a shout out to MFFL14 because he's cracking me up in chat right now.
What's he
He
saying?
just typed, "I used to have a tumor."
What?
Oh, dude. You should join us for one of our 2K podcasts. You would fit right in. Actually,
Yeah,
so
you
would
would.
Captain Jackass,
You would.
honestly.
They would.
Yeah, we do a lot of shit talking when we play 2K, especially me and Fossil.
That's because I'm so good, dude. Against you guys, dude, I'll kill these guys.
Dude, I beat you with the Celtics against the Nets, alright?
I'm not even going to pretend.
As far as it goes, it's 1-1 right now.
Okay,
All I'm saying.
I was the Nets, though, and I took you all 4 quarters.
Dude, excuses. Just excuses. Play as the Mavs next time.
Okay, then I'll smoke you. Okay,
Okay.
let's do it. Next time.
Yeah, we'll play Blazers versus Mavs or something. Or
Yeah.
maybe Thunder versus Mavs. We'll do that.
Yeah, I'll still smoke you.
Alex Len is huge.
You probably will. The Thunder are really bad on 2K.
They're okay.
They're overpowered in terms of their shooting, but their cohesiveness is probably worse than they are in real life.
Dude, Paul George is so fucking overrated on 2K. I can't get
know.
over him.
I know.
He cannot miss a mid-range shot.
Or a 3. Even
Dude.
threes.
It's crazy.
And
And
he
what is he,
dunks
like a
all over
92
the
overall?
place.
Yeah.
He's like low 90s, high 80s, something like that.
Honestly, I think HB is currently rated all right, but the way he was last year, he should have been like an 80, 87, 88.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
playing lights out some games. Like
I
the
think
Celtics game, the Lakers game. I just remember those games and it brings like a warmth to my soul that even when we're losing and we have a horrible season, not only do we get Dennis Smith Jr. and well, then we got Nerlens Noel, but we had HB kind of putting the city onto his back a little.
I think last season he peaked on 2K at about an 84 or an 85, at least an 83. And I feel like that's a pretty good peak. But then he got, later in the season he started slumping and they took his rating down. But I feel like that was like sort of unfair. He probably should have.
What did he start the season at 86 or something?
He started the season last season.
82 or
Or
something.
this season. He was like the 9th rated small forward
He was,
on 2K.
I think, probably in that 82, 83 range.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Oh, well, apparently 14 had a surgery last year on a neck tumor.
Oh
He
shit.
says he'll beat my ass. Hi, dude. Meet me in Temecula. And he says that he saw Alex Len all the time in college. That's a really good transition, because where the hell is Alex Len?
Yeah. Well, he's on the
Well, he's on the floor right now. But like,
Where did he go to Maryland, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Oh.
He was in 2K14 in the My Career mode, so I should know. But
He's also one of those Nerlens Noel style, frozen out by his team kind of guys. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year after Phoenix declined his 50-year option.
do you think he's going to be asking for $20 million?
Hell no. He'll be lucky if he gets 10, honestly.
He's talented, but like I don't know what he actually does to help a team.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got a lot of raw potential, I think.
I guess.
I'd be happy taking a flyer on him.
I think we mentioned this about Nerlens in our last podcast, and 14 says, yes, sir, Maryland. But where does raw potential become outweighed by lack of production? Because we saw with Nerlens, at least the start of the season in limited minutes, he just wasn't contributing the way that his physical skill should indicate that he can produce. Is it just a mental thing? Does he need to be in the right place? Or is it about his attitude and his style of play?
It's a little bit of both, I think. I don't know too much about Alex Len as a worker or the player, but like I know definitely with Nerlens Noel, one of the biggest knocks against him was just kind of, as Tim McMahon said on one of his podcasts, he kind of like goes in and does the bare minimum or just like as much as he needs to do, which in the NBA is like not doing enough. You have to go above and beyond. So
Right.
I think, I don't know how Alex Len is, but I still think his time in the NBA shouldn't be done yet. He still should get one more shot to make things right.
Oh yeah.
14 says he can't get any better, talking about Len. While sitting on the bench, he's got to play to get better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, he's got all the physical tools. Like, I think he's 7'1", 7'2". He's got a pretty long wingspan. Like, that's all you can ask.
He doesn't seem skinny to me.
Yeah, he's got a fair amount of mass on him too.
And he's a decent rebounder.
Weren't
Yeah,
there
I
injury
saw it.
concerns about him like early on? He like broke a bone. Or
Yeah, I feel like he was
he's-
injured for
he's
a good
missed
part
lot
of his
time
first
with
2
injury.
seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Suns fan, so I can't tell you for sure. Going back to redrafting and looking for talent rather than looking for hype, we talked about Lonzo Ball a lot last podcast, but Rick Carlisle had a quote last week about a redraft of last year's draft, and he said that Yogi and Dorian Finney-Smith would have been taken in the top half of the draft or something like that.
Yeah, in the first round.
Yeah, in the first round. I think that's definitely true, but where do you think they have? Do you think they have room to go in order to become starters?
I mean, I don't know if neither of them are starters in the NBA. I think we should just face that fact. But Yogi, I think he's gotta become a more consistent shooter. Right now, he's really streaky. and I guess overall just develop a better court vision. I think he misses a lot of guys on the roll and stuff. But I mean, he's shown enough where he makes me believe that he can be an NBA player for a long time. Finney Smith, on the other hand, he's a pretty solid NBA defender, but he's got to be more consistent shooting the ball, and that's really what's going to determine if he'll stick in the league or not. I know he worked on it in the offseason, but so far we haven't quite seen it yet because of his injuries and whatnot. So I was a little surprised when Carlisle said that. Like, I called him Lyric Ball because that was a pretty LeVar Ball-esque statement to make.
Right.
I could definitely see Yogi. I can believe him on that because the 2016 draft was pretty weak to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
But with Finney Smith, I don't know, man. Maybe like a second-round pick. I think a lot of people had him going in the second round, but a first-round pick, it's a bit of a stretch right now to say that.
I feel like Yogi could even today be like, a second string point guard, spot starter, even on a good team.
Yeah.
But DFS, I don't know about all that. He has to like flat out develop an offensive game first, but I'll give him defense. He's good there, but like he plays one side of the ball, man. Like he's really got to work on offense to become even anything more than a rotation player, I feel.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not even totally sold on his long-term future with the Mavs. I guess he serves their needs right now.
I don't know. He can't be any worse than Justin Anderson, so.
True.
True.
Just a warning to you guys. We got 10 minutes until we're bringing in Jackass. So because you all won't be able to hear him like I am because I'm wearing a headset. Take out your phones, maybe put on headphones and go to the Discord. You can mute your mics over there, but as long as you're able to hear him and respond to him, you should be good.
I do not have headphones.
Is your phone a lightning connection?
Yeah.
Okay, I have lightning headphones. So yeah, what else do you guys want to talk about on the Mavs front? Because we're going to talk about Seth Curry, but that's going to be our lead into conspiracy theories.
I think maybe Dirk coming back for a 21st season is probably something to hit on. Seth Curry's, availability and kind of how the Mavs have handled that is something we should probably discuss too.
Okay. I'm going to go get the connector cable. Y'all can discuss.
Hold up. Alright. So far, the Mavs lead by 7 going into the fourth quarter. I wonder if it's going to last. Kind of hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, let's see how the game goes and who contributes. If it's Berea contributing, I hope they lose. Not that I don't like Berea, but the Mavs don't need Berea.
Now that I've had a second to think, I just want to give our repeated episodic fuck you to DeAndre Jordan. I mean, come on, man. Like, none of this would be an issue if he was here.
And in case you all didn't know, Captain Jackass is the one who had that famous DeAndre Jordan rant after the whole thing happened.
Oh yeah, we're gonna play that for you for sure.
Where he famously said, "Never trust a man from Houston," and I have never heard wiser words.
I think it has like 440,000 views on YouTube. So.
It deserves more, honestly. What are there, like 20,000 people in the Mavs seats every game?
Yeah.
And that video should have at least 100,000 views. Come on, guys.
No, 440,000.
That was a collective
Oh, it has 440,000?
Yeah, that's
okay. It should have at least 500,000.
That was the collective conscience of Mavs Nation right there.
Honestly. Yeah, DFS did totally reconstruct his shot. My issue is that I just don't think that he is the type of player offensively that can kind of spark the bench. I think he needs Dennis or Seth in there to create for him.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, he's a good defender, but I don't know if his defense like outweighs the liability on offense that he is.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some good plays in the early season. When he was active, I remember there was one baseline drive. I forget against what team.
I know. I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. I was applauding that because he really showed his raw athleticism there, and I feel like we need a little more of that. It's difficult to do that with the Mavs' pace of play, though. So Seth Curry. For those of you who don't know, Fossil and I are working on we're working on another piece, another film breakdown, but the format's completely different than our old content. Before we used to post articles and they'd be featured on sites like Mavs Moneyball, but we're working on a long form video right now, and it'll be kind of showing the film while we're talking about his skill set and what decisions he makes and how it helps the team. But unfortunately, his wrist has really been acting up recently. We've seen him in a lot of contact drills, a lot of practice, but from every interview that I've seen, apparently the day after, his wrist just acts up. Do you think that we will see him back before the All-Star break?
All-Star break? I think so. That's like, what, February?
Yeah, mid-Feb.
Yeah, I really do think so. This shouldn't not have lasted as long as it did, and even, I guess, if Seth is the slowest healer in the world, unless...
But you all are talking about wrist injuries, but isn't Seth's deal with his foot, though, tibia?
I'm not sure. From the interview that I read, he was saying that it's not healing properly after practice, and maybe he needs a surgery.
I think it's a tibia, but the article I read was basically like the Mavericks still don't believe that surgery is necessary right now, and it's viewed as a
surgery's a big deal, man.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. I mean, I guess like. Yeah, if the injury is a lot more severe than previously thought, yeah, I guess he needs all the time he can get. But I feel like we should see him play at some point in the season.
Yeah, hopefully. I was really excited for him.
Lord.
So it's a bummer that... Is that not a foul?
My God. This game is garbage, man. Let's just... We're not going to talk about this game right now. It's pretty trash, so...
Honestly, what do you expect from the Mavs Sun game?
Oh my
the hell is it? Okay, no, seriously though.
Hey, I'm all aboard Team Tank, but watching these games can be physically painful.
Yeah.
Look, it's not about losing and winning. It's about how you
got
lose
tripped
and how
up,
you
man.
win. I don't have a problem.
Are you talking about a 15-0 run?
Yeah, 30-0 run. Like, I don't have a problem losing games, but like at least lose competitively. Don't
have some fucking pride, man.
Don't just wilt down the stretch. That's just depressing, and I don't think anybody likes that.
Hey, Fazio, can you queue up the video so that we can intro it in a couple minutes?
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we don't necessarily cover in depth in the video, or at least the treatment that we have for it right now, I'm still working on getting it into working condition, is Dennis's fit with Seth. A lot of people have said that they'll fit really well together, but I'm one of those people that think that their games mesh so well. I mean, Seth can work as a primary ball handler, as a catch and shoot player. He can just stand out there off ball. He can move off ball screens off of like Wes Matthews or even Salah Mejri. I mean, it really opens up the offense more than I think it does with Devin Harris, JJ Barea, or Yogi.
Sure. I mean, if you want to commit to a 2-point guard backcourt, like that's the combination you want to go with. Because I think Seth is he makes up for Dennis's deficiencies, namely in 3-point shooting and being able to play off the ball. But yeah, they're both pretty good passers, both better defenders than people give them credit for being. And so I think that'll give them a lot of versatility on the perimeter. And you'll see that success on both sides of the ball. Like that's partially why the Yogi, Devin, JJ, Powell, and Dirk lineup is like the most successful lineup the Mavs have, is because they're just able to effectively switch on the perimeter and generate turnovers that way. And they're all pretty good scoring guards. So
yeah,
I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that, but from players you actually care about.
All right, guys. Now it's the time to introduce our second guest on the Under Reunion Lights podcast. Without further ado, let's do it, Fuzzle.
What you did tonight was one of the most disgraceful, embarrassing, shitty, and humiliating things I have ever seen out of a professional basketball player. And what you did to us Mavericks fans, to our franchise, to Dirk, to Mark Cuban, was absolutely fucking despicable. I have never felt disrespected as a Dallas Mavericks fan
So without further ado,
Let's introduce him. Captain, can you hear me?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect.
Am I doing okay? You can hear me?
Oh yeah, absolutely, perfectly. So the Suns are actually really battling back in this game.
Hey, there's like a 5-second lag here.
On the Twitch stream or on the Discord?
Everything I'm saying to you, well, I think I hear you guys live, but when I'm talking, it's coming through about 5 or 10 seconds later.
Oh, on the stream? Yeah, I've added a delay on purpose. Or do you mean when you're actually speaking? On Discord?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I can hear you fine.
Well, I'll say words, and then about, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds later, I hear myself then.
Okay. I mean, is it fitting with my voice? Like, is the conversation working or is it delayed?
It's delayed probably about, I don't know, I'd say 6-7 seconds.
Okay. Well, we're about to get Jay and Fossil to join in onto Discord. So as they're doing that, I'm going to try to work on the technical difficulties.
I think there's anything I can do on my end, or it's probably just going from Discord to the Twitch, and that's kind of why it's taking a minute, right?
I mean, if you're like, I can hear you perfectly fine on my end. So if it's just not going through on the stream, then I don't think it's really a huge issue. But if it's an issue with Discord right now, then maybe I should restart my Discord. Are you able to hear me through Discord?
Let me try. Try it again.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can only hear you through Twitch.
All right, I'm gonna restart my Discord, and they're changing their mics, so. All right, join the channel. Just tap on it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Jay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear him. Listening through Discord now. I can hear you well here.
Okay.
Cool. What's up, man?
Hello, hello.
hey,
Nice to see you.
All right,
Here you go.
There's a little bit of delay, so I'm just gonna turn off my headset.
All right, I can hear everybody fine. All right, so conspiracy theory. Cool.
Yes,
We were
I
just
brought
talking
in
about Steph
3 for
Curry.
you guys.
Sorry?
I said I brought in 3 for you guys today. We got 2 Mavericks ones, and then one about Lonzo Ball.
Ooh,
Nice.
I'm interested to hear the Lonzo Ball one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
All right, so I think Lonzo Ball is an alien, perhaps a reptilian shapeshifter. Nobody from planet Earth taught Lonzo to shoot like that. And I'm just gonna say it. I know I'm not the prettiest or most handsome guy, but Lonzo Ball is one of the ugliest people I've ever seen.
Hey, dude. As a person with acne, I have to agree with you. Yeah.
He needs an acne sponsorship.
Honestly, maybe Neutrogena.
So, with that being said, I think Lonzo is an otherworldly being. If you look at LeVar Ball and you look at his mother, and then take a look at Lonzo, I don't see any situation where he'd be from planet Earth. Or his broken jump shot. Lonzo didn't learn that shot on Earth, and he likely came from the Andromeda Galaxy system, which is closest to the Milky Way.
Hey, that explains a lot about Leangelo.
Who also kind of looks like an alien.
Yeah.
You see LaMelo's eyebrows?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I know.
I mean, their haircuts alone, guys. Well,
Yeah, you know, when you look at both of those guys, or at least Lonzo, I really don't think it looks like either of his parents.
Yeah,
I know. Lonzo looks okay with his long hair, but when he cut it, he just looks like an alien, man.
Well, yeah, I don't know. The long hair kind of freaks me out too a little bit, but each their own.
True.
I think he's going for the Jason Kidd cut. But is
Lonzo looks like that tweet where something's like Lonzo looks like the 6-year-old to drug race.
Yeah, true.
Oh god.
Okay, so would you guys like to hear the Mavericks one that I have?
I think
sure.
we should go into the Seth Curry one a little bit beforehand, so we have a little
Oh, okay,
buffer.
I didn't know. I didn't. I thought I was the only one with them. I didn't know you guys had some coming up. But let's hear it.
Yeah, we have a couple. I got one about Lonzo Ball as well. Actually, I think this is all an elaborate marketing scheme for their Facebook reality TV show. It's not really even a conspiracy theory. I think it's just the way that it is.
Forget about even all this NBA stuff related to Lonzo Ball. Can we just talk about how his last name is perfect for everything they're trying to do? Like Ball, that's the most perfect basketball last name after like Duncan. You know?
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't know what the Kardashians do, but if the Kardashians had a name like Model or
Yeah.
Plaster Face, it would be perfect. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jello got arrested for shoplifting sunglasses, and then apparently LeVar didn't do anything to really reprimand him. So I think they're definitely a family of aliens, if anything. Because I know if I came home with a pair of Louis Vuitton sunglasses, my mom would beat the shit out of me.
Especially if I got banned from China.
If I got banned from UCLA for shoplifting sunglasses at an exhibition game.
Right, and LeVar's first reaction after that is to try to get him signed to a Lithuanian pro team. So
I know.
Not even like pro teams, like pro teams, D-League teams, basically.
You know, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a tweet about the coach of that team.
Yeah, he doesn't know to speak English or anything.
Yeah, and he doesn't play players who can't speak Lithuanian because he can't talk to them. So those guys, I don't know what's going to go on over there.
I read that Bleacher Report article about him, and then they were like, there are all these former players that are like, I don't think they can play here because these are grown men, and the bald guys are just boys.
The ball boys.
The ball
Ball
boys.
boys, yeah.
Maybe they'll just end up being ball boys. Yeah, it's weird. They have like this 1 month rental on their contract.
Yeah.
So let's do expectations. How long do you think they're gonna last in Lithuania in that village?
As long as that opt-out period is, they're not playing beyond February, which is when the mutual opt-out clause is. They're not playing beyond that time.
Just
Knowing
knowing
LeVar, like, they couldn't even last in high school at UCLA. They're not going to be playing in Lithuania, man.
Fossil?
I don't know. 2 hours.
They're gonna look at the cows and the farms and all that stuff, and they're gonna be like, "This is not what I imagined." I mean, they say that it's all about playing basketball, but I don't believe them.
Yeah, it's apparently in like a remote city too. Like it's not in a big city. That team. So it's gonna be a culture shock for them.
Yeah, McDonald's is like 40 minutes away, something like that.
Well, apparently from the last episode of the reality show, Mello really likes Taco Bell, so it's gonna be a rough transition.
It's gonna be a problem.
Well, I'm going to say something real quick since we brought up Taco Bell. I think Taco Bell gets a really bad rep. I actually think for the price, I think it's quality fast food.
Hey,
we
we
freaking
freaking
there as well,
It's okay.
man. It's okay.
Oh yeah,
I'm
dude.
a Taco Bell hater, but I agree with your assessment. It's pretty decent
Yeah,
value.
fuck off, Jay.
Junior year of high school, I ate Taco Bell way too much to admit. And then senior year, Bueno kind of like rushed in the lead. They had this soda machine where you could like select different flavors and like mixes of like cherry with your Sprite and like peach with your Fanta and like weird crap like that. So I think maybe if they have it in Lithuania, maybe it'll last a little longer than 2 hours.
I wouldn't bet on that.
So yeah, Seth Curry. We were just talking about how it's so weird that his injury hasn't already been resolved, and the fact that he said that he really didn't think he would need a surgery, and now he does. Do you think this is just like Nerlens' situation, where the team really just wants to tank and keep their talent out, or do you think this is a behind-the-scenes thing?
I don't think there's anything going on with Seth in terms of personnel issues or any drama like that. There was one thing I read on Twitter that actually was kind of scary, but maybe it's true. Maybe they're afraid Seth Curry's going to ask for a big payday next year, and if you can keep him out as long as possible and justify it, maybe they can pay a little less, or his agent will expect a little bit less in terms of the contract. So that's kind of my weird take on it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment of the situation too. I mean, the Mavs in general don't handle like injury news pretty well. They're always pretty tight-lipped about it and confusing about it. But that could be part of the reason why they're not rushing him back, because the less games he plays, the less money he's going to be able to command on the market next season, and which increases their chances of keeping him, which I do think they want to do, but only for a reasonable price. They're not going to pay him like $20 million a season, or
Yeah, they better
15.
not max. That'd be insane if they give him a max or anything close to that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure he's looking at Wes Matthews' contract and being like, "You should at least pay me that. Like my production is better than that."
But remember, like,
Wes was only supposed to make like 13 a year, but then like when he who shall not be named reneged on his contract, they upped it to 70 million, which is like 17 million a year, just to reward him for his loyalty, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, Mark gave him the option. They said, if you don't want to play with this team anymore, it's fine. But if you stick around, I guess we'll give you another 13 million. I think that was the number. And really, that was really a bad move by Mark. I'm pretty sure Wesley would have took that money anyway, coming off an injury.
Yeah.
I mean,
they did that for JJ and Devin as well.
Oh yeah, JJ got 4 million, right?
Yeah, it's 4 million over 4 years. I think we're in like year 3.
Yeah.
Excuse
And
me, 60 million over 4 years. So
This is the last year of Devin's contract, I think.
And JJ has one more?
One more after this, yeah.
Oh yeah, because we got JJ after he got waived from the Timberwolves, which was mid-season.
But then they only signed him for the rest of that season.
Right. We wanted to talk to you about the 2006 finals.
You had a video about that recently.
Yes, Forgotten Mavs. It's a new podcast that's out, and they pretty much interview old Mavericks players. But this guy interviewed Tim Donaghy, and he got Tim Donaghy on tape.
Oh wow! He's getting Josh Howard pretty soon too. Oh, tonight. Yeah, he's doing some good stuff.
Right, and the Tim Donaghy one was really interesting because he got Tim Donaghy to straight up admit that 2006 the finals weren't. He didn't say rigged, but he said the odds were stacked against the Mavericks because all the referees, including the head of the referees, hated Mark Cuban's guts.
And they still do now.
I mean, yeah, we saw it earlier this season or last season, didn't we?
Yeah, they're afraid of him, man. It's pretty stupid, honestly.
Well, he'll speak out and he'll call them out on their chicken shit bullshit, and they get mad about it. And if they find him, big deal. He's a billionaire. He can pay all the fines. It doesn't matter.
I know. Yeah. I just find it really stupid how they're so thin-skinned. Like oh my Jesus, Alex!
Speaking of Alex,
dunked on the whole Mavericks team just now.
Hey, this is a good loss coming up.
Hey, don't rule out the Mavs just yet. Harrison Barnes might pull up for 3 again. But it all hinges on this possession right here.
Yeah,
I was too busy talking in the chat to even realize that the Mavericks are down. I might be behind. I'm on a stream, but the Mavericks are down 6 right now to the Suns, and this is an absolute disgrace.
It's 3 right now.
Dirk just hit a layup, and I don't know if they didn't give him a foul, I don't think, but they're down by 3. I don't know what they're reviewing right now.
Whether it's
maybe
a,
they did give him a foul.
Oh,
Oh, they're reviewing
whether it's a 2 or a 3. Yeah.
Ooh, that's really close. It looks like he has that looks like a 3.
He's
Unless
just
you wanna
behind
go
the
by
line.
toenail on the line kind of thing.
Hey, like we said, they do hate the Mavs.
Yeah.
Index cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that series, and the one thing that I recall was every call that could have gone either way went Miami's way.
Yeah, man.
The
The first two games were
dominant
dominant showings by the Mavericks, and
I was
I was convinced we were gonna win that series. I was like,
yeah,
we were like, there's no way in hell the Heat can beat this team. But then, Danny Crawford happened, and then
Dwayne
Yeah.
fucking Wade.
I mean, I think the underrated cog there is Shaq.
yeah.
Shaq really made the difference in a lot of their runs to keep their leads up.
Listen, I will never, ever get over 2006. Never.
Well,
Me
I'm
neither.
going to introduce two things. Number one, with those games, there were some calls where you would have referees on the whole other side of the court, or referees that were completely out of position making these calls. And then, no one want, if you want to talk really bad conspiracy theories, and maybe Mavericks fans don't want to entertain. I don't want to entertain it, but in 2011, you have LeBron fans who say, "Oh, LeBron, he threw the series because that was Dallas's payback or whatever." But I don't entertain that. But I've seen that on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could come up with something like that, but I would rather not talk about it either. I just want to take our championship and run,
And JJ Barea played great defense on LeBron that whole series. That's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it annoys me the way that the mainstream sports media kind of colors that series as LeBron James choking rather than Dirk and the Mavs leading their team past the big three. Because really, for us Mavs fans, I'm sure for you, Captain, it just felt like a triumph of team ball over built by money.
Well, yeah, exactly. Everyone going into the series kind of thought Miami had it locked up. They thought this was going to be the team to win the next 10 finals, and Dallas just comes out of nowhere, and Dirk plays the best ball of his career, and they win a title. I mean, it's beautiful. That's as good as sports gets.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, the revenge feeling was amazing. I think now it's been 7 years. People kind of forget how good that revenge felt, because it had only been 5 years since 06 at the time. Now it's been 11 years, so obviously that feeling is still not as strong, but it was just a perfect storm. Playing the Heat again, shot at revenge, and they did it. I'll never forget that.
Man, game 2, Dwayne Wade on the ground.
Yeah, there's a picture of him, Dwayne Wade on the ground, and Dirk just walking away after the game, after the buzzer sounded with his fist in the air. That was one of my favorite pictures.
Iconic.
Ever.
Those were the next words out of my mouth. Was going to be Dwayne Wade on the ground, pretty much crying while Dirk was putting his tongue out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it was after that where he did the coughing thing, right?
Yeah, that was before game 4, I think, is when.
What a fucking dick.
Hey, I went to the Cavs-Mavs game this year, and every single time Dwayne Wade touched the ball, I had to chant "washed up" from the nosebleeds, man. I said it as loud as I could.
He's really washed up, dude.
I mean, he's had some good games, but he's not really efficient.
He's not the same player.
Unfortunately. I mean, I think he needs to reinvent his game in some way.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'd be happy.
I'm pretty sure he's got one more year after this, and he's gone.
And
Hey,
did
if
you
you want
guys
to-
see Isaac Harris? He's like a Mavs reporter.
Mhm.
He's really active on Twitter. Did you see he actually asked Dwayne Wade about it?
Yeah,
this year?
yeah, I did.
Yeah, and Dwayne Wade didn't really entertain those questions.
No, he was pissed.
Yeah.
Seems like a prideful guy.
No, seems like a guy who knows something that doesn't want to say.
Yeah, all the signs of being guilty.
Yeah, right?
He pleaded the fifth, basically, except he had LeBron right next to him. That's really the only difference.
Yeah.
Captain, just an interjection before we get back into the conspiracy aspect of all this. Do you think that 2011 was absolvents for 2006? Do you think that the Mavs winning in 2011 means that we should forget about 2006?
Yeah, I'd say it was just because Jason Terry and Dirk, they got their rings, and I think that's what means most to Mavericks fans. I think if Dirk retired without a ring, A, he might not even be on the team right now, and B, I think that would really it would suck for a lot of us. So I think, especially considering it was the same team they played, I think it made up for it, and they had LeBron. We still beat them, so I think it made up for it 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
I shudder to think what would have happened if they didn't win, and Dirk, because that was their best shot, and I don't think they would have had a chance to compete afterwards, given the lockout and everything. So I really honestly wonder what would have happened after that.
Yeah, so imagine the Mavericks don't win the championship, and think about what Mark Cuban did after they won the title. Imagine the decisions he'd make had they not won the title. He probably would trade Dirk, and God knows what he would do. I don't want to know what Mark would have done after that.
Yeah, I don't know though. I feel like if they hadn't won, they kept at it. And he would have. I think partially one of the reasons why he did what he did after the title was like, okay, we won. Now it's time to start thinking about the future. But Mark, like everybody else at the time, kind of really misread the CBA and didn't realize how little the new CBA actually changed things. But yeah.
It's unfortunate, really, to think about how many years after the championship were wasted in trying to land big fish. And of course, it's easy in hindsight to be like, oh yeah, screw Mark Cuban, just trying to swing for home runs every single time.
But in the moment, every year, you got your hopes up, and then they got crushed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, no matter how much cap space you have, it's going to be the talent that draws players. And I think their approach wasn't fully wrong, but like just a complete purge of all the big contracts on that roster, except for Dirk, wasn't the right way to go about it. And I think, had they maybe gotten rid of like Karan and I don't know, somebody else, but kept Tyson Chandler, like that would have been way more attractive just to a free agent than just getting rid of everyone and just being like, well, you could be the next guy here after Dirk.
You could be the next guy we throw out once we think we have a chance at someone better than you. And if you look at the guys that Mark wanted to, I mean, with hindsight being 2020, his choices weren't that great. Dwight Howard, Darren
They're
Williams.
really lucky that none of those came true.
Yeah.
All right, Devin, this is the last shot.
Oh my God!
They
Wow.
have to foul now. Foul. They stole it. Sorry.
Oh, Wes! Oh no!
Oh, shit. Crap.
I'm sorry.
What timestamp? What time were you guys at in the game?
11
I'm at
seconds.
44 seconds.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
Spoilers, bro.
You're in for a roller coaster.
Hey, at least
You can spoil it. It's fine. I mean, you can react to it live. It's my fault for being on these dumb streams.
So basically, okay, if you want to know, the Mavs' ball, they missed several shots, but got some offensive rebounds. Devin hit a corner three to
Yeah,
get
he
within
just did
2
that.
points. Yeah, and then I guess we'll see what happens right after.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wes
Wesley Matthews made a
Matthews.
play,
Mm.
and then he bricked it.
Too freaking predictable.
Unfortunately.
That was a draft of a theory I had, is that Wesley Matthews is a hired gun to tank, because, I mean, this guy's terrible.
Hey, there's that picture on the Mavs subreddit of him dressed up as a toy soldier from Toy Story, and there's the caption "Tank Commander." I just think it's so perfect.
Yeah, he's definitely leading the way.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love Wes. He gives his effort and whatnot, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to the day he's not the starting shooting guard of the Mavericks. Like, aside from his shooting and defense, like his ball handling skills are subpar. He's not fast, and he really doesn't contribute in any other way. So,
I mean, he makes good defensive plays, but I've seen him make some terrible decisions on defense, especially in the clutch.
Yeah.
I can do like against the Spurs. I'm pretty sure he didn't know Manu was a left-hander. He just let Manu.
Oh my
right
God.
by him.
Yeah. He does kind of surprise me with his bad decision making on defense sometimes. I think he's a little bit too prideful and believes in his abilities a little bit more than he should.
That being said, I'll soften the blow. I love Wes. I love his attitude. I love the fact that he's here for our losing years. But come on, Donnie, trade that dude, man. He still has value.
His value is probably the highest that it'll ever will be at this point in time. Because he's had like a pretty good season shooting the ball. And so it's now or never to unload him.
Still playing defense.
Yeah.
And I like that. With every passing day, his trade value gets a little worse. So today's the best his value is ever going to be.
Yeah.
True.
I remember the 2011 finals. my family and I were watching it around the same TV that we're currently podcasting from, which is really what brought it to mind. But we had this weird ritual where we would all sit in like random parts of the room. So like I would sit in that corner, my sister would sit in that corner, and as soon as we sat there, the Mavs would start outscoring the Heat, and we would start coming back, and we were not allowed to move from the corners of the room.
I did those things too.
Yeah, so Captain, are you superstitious like that? Especially in the playoffs.
I try not to be, just because the first team I was ever a fan of, I grew up in Chicago. First team I was ever a fan of was the Cubs, and superstition before 2016 was never a very favorable thing to me. So not believing in superstition was just the easier route to go.
Oh yeah, probably as a baseball fan, right?
Must have been rough.
Yeah, it was rough. About a year ago, it was devastating. But no, I try not to buy into the superstition stuff unless it works in my favor. But otherwise, you just I don't know. You gotta expect the worst.
I'm pretty sure that's a mantra for superstition in general, isn't it? It's all hogwash unless it works.
Speaking of expecting the worst, I do not expect the Mavericks to make a game-tying three here with 11.4 seconds left in this one. But hey, surprise me, guys.
All right. So, do we want to talk about Hot Dog Gate? We haven't covered that on this podcast. It's been a month since the last one.
Do we? Yeah, I guess. Maybe we can touch on it, but I feel like that story is far in the past now, just given how irrelevant the world is.
Do you think hot dogs are even that good?
I've never had one, so I'm a vegetarian.
I've never had an actual hot dog.
So what you put on the hot dog?
Yeah, I even despite not having one, I feel like a plain hot dog wouldn't be that good. But if you put stuff on it, I think it could make it
Relish.
a lot better. Relish, yeah.
Yeah, onions and relish.
Which is apparently how Nerlens Noah likes his hot dogs. But I don't know if that really matters here.
I was at that game where he went and got a hot dog at
Really?
halftime or whatever it was, and I was watching their huddles and their timeouts pretty closely. He wasn't even listening. He was like walking around and like just looking at things. He did not give a single shit about what was going on out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's hard in his situation. It's hard to remain engaged during games when you know you're not going to play. But yeah, I think part of the reason why he's not playing is because of his lack of engagement in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
what the hell is Devin doing? Jump ball.
That was.
Why would you try and go?
Why would you try and go for two when you're down by three?
Sounds like I'm in for a good surprise.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Dude, the tank is on, man. The tank is on.
Play badly for Bagley.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so disappointing seeing where Nerlens is right now. I think this is the worst way. Obviously, it could have played out after the whole $17 million contract offer, refusal, getting a new agent, miscommunication, and then his new agent saying that we have yet to receive a legitimate offer from Dallas, which is just ridiculous. I just have to wonder whether this is another issue of like a player having a bad attitude or an attitude that doesn't gel with the rest of the team in the front office. And maybe we should thank the Mavs for handling this better than the Rondo.
Hey, sorry guys, gotta interrupt here with some breaking news. Lonzo Ball is wearing Kobe Bryant's shoes tonight. He's deviated from his usual big baller brand shoes and is wearing Kobe's.
Beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Well, they're retiring his number tonight, so.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how long this Big baller brand shoe facade will go on. Those shoes.
Big baller brand.
They are pretty bland shoes, man. They're some of the blandest shoes I've ever seen. It's just taken like the good elements of all signature basketball shoes and mashed it up into one, and not been able to put the Nike logo or the Adidas logo on. Yogi pulls up for three. I bet this is gonna be the one. And the Mavericks have lost their 21st game of the season.
Isaiah Kane as a player of the game. By the way, he did the little cooking
Devin
celebration.
Harris play was.
Sorry?
I really don't either, man. I really have no idea. I think the idea was to draw a foul, but in that situation, you don't bet on things like that. Like you go for the three because it's the reliable thing to do.
I don't know if you guys got a glimpse of Rick Carlisle after that play. The confused Rick Carlisle image that is every game, but that guy, he is out of his mind. He's not in control right now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He's a good coach, but sometimes he just does weird things that I don't understand. And I think we're not wrong to criticize him for it.
He doesn't know what to do with like these less talented rosters.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
That brings me back to conspiracy theories. Twofold. Do you think that Nerlens' injury is legit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's supposedly having surgery, unless they made that up too. Would be a real low point for this franchise.
I mean, they did it for Rondo. They didn't make up a surgery, but they made up an injury.
They made up an injury, yeah. If they make up a surgery, that's a real low point, man. I don't know what to say to that.
I feel like that's questionably legal.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing
stopping them from doing it, but
if that
ever got out, their reputation would be shattered.
And they have a pretty good
reputation as being like a stable organization that doesn't do any bullshit like that, but that would damage their reputation forever, or as long as Mark Cuban is the owner.
Maybe on some dysfunctional Knicks shit.
Captain, what about you?
I think the Nerlens thing, I think it's good for both sides. It is a lingering problem that is real, so we can get that fixed, and the Mavericks can have an excuse not to play him. All the meanwhile, they'll trade him. I think it works for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get Randall for it.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, to be honest with you guys.
Neither do I.
It's a pipe dream.
That would be nice, though. I mean, we all know that. I don't know what the Lakers are gonna do, but I feel like they might keep him because he's had a decent season for them. But if they want Nerlens, like some reports say they do, then maybe they'll give in to our ridiculous trade request.
I mean, we'd probably have to take on Luol Deng.
Which I don't know if I'd be down for that. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's coming out of Mark's pocket. That's fine. If we get Randall, that's a huge win. But I don't, man. We're gonna have to give up more than Nerlens to get Randall, because Randall, I think he's actually a really good player. But I guess
he's
Lakers
good.
don't.
Yeah, he just may not fit with the Lakers because they have Ingram, who's kind of that tweener forward there too, and Nance, yeah.
Jay.
They seem to have committed to Nance. So
I say this exclusively to be a dick, but how many Lakers games have you watched in the past month? See, I haven't watched many more than that. I've watched like 4 or 5. But I can say specifically the Bulls game, the Knicks game. When Clarkson and Randall are both in the game together, they just both bring a great energy and a great defense. And Randall especially can basically play the point from the 4. I mean, he's quick enough.
Yeah, I know. Randall, I mean, and yeah, energy's a great point. Like, Randall gives it his all when he plays. And he's like a underrated ball handler. I think shooting may be his biggest issue, but that's something that can be fixed. I just saw the confused Rick face.
Well, if we're going to make a trade with the Lakers, and you look at the Lakers roster, and then you look at what we have to trade, I don't think they have any use for Wesley Matthews. They don't have any use for J.J. Barea. They probably need to replace a big guy, and I think Nerlens is garbage. I guess the Lakers don't think he's that bad, but after what I've seen the last, year, really not good.
Yeah, I think teams are going to be disappointed with what they get at this point. Like I used to think that he's going to go to another team and play really well, but just given how badly this situation has played out, I have a lot of reason to believe that Nerlens has issues that won't get fixed where else he goes. Because this is kind of what he faced in Philly too. Yeah, yes, he was injured, but even when he was healthy, he wasn't like a super effective player or anything of that sort. And so the fact that they so enthusiastically got rid of him, in hindsight, it all makes sense now.
Okay, but Philly,
Why, Nate?
that goes both ways. Because in Philly they kind of shafted him for it, and honestly, they're like their front office was basically in a state of flux, and they didn't really know what to do with everybody outside of like Embiid, I guess, and a couple other dudes.
I think his size is a big problem too. I mean, his legs are the size like my forearms. His legs, the hot dog picture of him, if you look at it, like I don't know if it's a camera glitch, but his legs literally look like they're like an inch long.
No, he's a really skinny guy.
He's skinnier than Jonathan Motley. I mean, Fossil and I went to the open practice, and we saw both of them, and god damn is he skinny.
Ironically, I don't think Nerlens even played in that, did he?
No, he didn't. He had that injury. Going back to Lonzo for a second before we go back to Captain Jackass's conspiracy theories for the Mavs. Do we think that maybe the Big Baller Brand fiasco is just Lonzo paying off his college tuition? I think that might be realistic.
I mean, I think he would have gotten a scholarship though, right? He was a pretty highly touted recruit.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of expenses related to UCLA that you don't necessarily recoup without an agent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting theory, I guess. But being UCLA and given how good of a recruit he was, I feel like even if there were expenses to be paid, it would be UCLA that's paying it under the table for him. But
fair point.
I don't know. I think the whole Big Baller Brand thing is pretty stupid. He should have signed with Nike or whoever gave him a shoe deal.
Hey, people really buy into that brand, man. Like
but like as far as shoes go, like shoes, you don't mess around with shoes, man. You get the good shoes.
$495.
Yeah, look, come on, I would never pay that for Big Baller Brand shoes.
Yeah, and the name too is just kind of a joke in itself. Big Baller Brand, like nobody wants to walk around saying I'm a big baller,
Yeah.
It really just sounds like a euphemism, like the type of thing you can't say at a dinner table, man. Now they're coming out with like lady big baller stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna be a line outside Champs for that.
Does Champs even carry Big Baller Brand stuff?
No, I think they sell them to Payless.
It's like it's the highest stuff on the rack. Everything is overpriced by hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Scam looks so old.
Yeah,
man. I was just seeing him the other day, and I'm like, damn, man, he used to look so young like 8 years ago. I'm like, this guy is never gonna get old. And all of a sudden, he's got white hair. I used to remember when his hair was like, golden. He's like 50. He's not a young guy, but he still looks like he's in pretty decent shape.
Honestly, kids will do that to you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, Captain. Let's go into your conspiracy theories.
All right, so I got one about Salah Mejri.
Ooh, the Tunisian tower.
So we've all seen how much Salah Mejri complains to the referees.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't stop complaining, and it doesn't make a lot of sense considering his career average in minutes has to be under 5. There's no way this guy's getting 5 minutes a game his whole career. So why is he so ballsy with the officials? What I'm left to believe is that Salah Mejri's dream was not to be an NBA player, but to actually be an NBA referee.
I'm just imagining a 7'2" dude from Tunisia, like, whistling out towards officials.
Just taking out his insecurities on the people he wanted to be.
Right, so my idea is that Salah knows he's 31 years old, he's a one-dimensional Tunisian center, and his time in the NBA is limited. So he needs better job security, and quite frankly, his passion for making the correct calls is what has drawn him to be an NBA official in the first place. He considers every whistle an opportunity to prove himself to what are hopefully his future colleagues, and for anyone who's counting, which I wrote this at the end of the third quarter, he was at 5 fouls at the start of the fourth quarter, so there's 5 different opportunities for him to prove his worth to the officials.
Yeah.
Hey, his averages are looking pretty good, man. Maybe he can average a double-double once in a while.
Honestly, just knowing Salah and who he is, I think he'd make a pretty lousy referee. He would be no bullshit referee, so nobody could just bitch about the calls to him. He'd throw them out at the first instance he could get. But as far as attentiveness to the game, I don't know how good of a ref he'd be.
Well, I'd say, I'd say Salah is probably better than half these officials out there. I mean, every call that's made, Salah has an opinion about it, so he has to be paying close attention.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. He'd be entertaining for sure.
Yeah, nothing's gonna obscure his view.
The only concern I'm sure after thousands of games of him being an official, he'd probably instinctively swat a ball away if he saw something going up. But
Yeah. Is there a precedent for that? Is there like a technical on the officials? I think that might be like a league
on a
meeting.
free throw block. Joy Crawford blocked a free throw once.
Oh yeah, Chris Humphries. I remember was shooting and Joey Crawford.
Oh, I'm just remembering the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Falzo and I actually we got a chance to get an autograph from Salah at the Heroes game, at Dirk's Heroes game.
But he just threw us off.
Yeah, maybe it's because we weren't officials, dude. We weren't gonna further his career ambitions.
I saw him at Velvet Taco once, and I asked him for a picture, and he said no, and he walked away.
Are you serious?
I later angrily tweeted at him, and he apologized for it. So I was like, okay, man, it's all right.
Who does Salah think he is?
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
I just asked him, like, hey man, can I get a
picture,
And he's like, no.
and he just walked away. He was with some of his friends. I was just, and I specifically remember that day, the Mavs had just beaten the Clippers, and Salah played 1 minute in that game. Literally played only 1 minute at the end, as like a fouling sub.
That's
So
kind of
I don't know if
shitty.
he's
I don't
ticked
like
off
that
about it.
actually. That kind of sours my opinion on him a little bit. I mean, who does this guy think he is?
He's kind of known for that. I saw recently. I don't know. I didn't watch the video on this. Apparently, he tried to trip Patty Mills while the Spurs were going back to the locker room. Or
Yes, amazing play.
Great defense.
Okay, but this is the guy that like tried to get into it with Greg Popovich like during a game, which they were losing by like 30. So I think he has a pretty big penchant for conflict.
And like Trevor swear Salah said something about like his wife.
Okay, I think that's bullshit, dude. I don't think Salah knows Trevor Ariza well enough to like make comments about his family. Like, unless he was just making a generic comment, which then in that case, like Trevor Ariza shouldn't be mad about it because like it's trash talk then.
Well, I was a huge fan of that. I kind of believe that to be true because look, wherever Salah comes from, Tunisia, wherever in Tunisia, they are violent people clearly because that guy has a huge chip on his shoulder.
I love Salah, man. Like I think he's like the Matt Barnes that we never had, honestly. Like,
oh, that's a great comparison. Yes.
I like hate Matt Barnes, but like I would always want him on the Mavs because he just like drives the opponent crazy, and everybody hates him. Like you need a guy like that, and I don't think we've really had anyone like that since like Deshaun Stevenson. So it's nice to see a guy that doesn't deal with any bullshit, and teams are afraid to mess with.
Yeah, and there's nobody on the Mavericks except Salah who wouldn't be afraid to give somebody a bit of a bump, a bit of a hit, a little bit of a dirty punch or something to kind of get them out of their zone. So I agree with you. We do need someone like Salah.
Yeah. Dirk used to kind of be like that, but now in his old age, he's kind of mellowed out a little bit.
He has kids now, dude.
Once I think against the Cavs back in like 2010, he threw a punch at Ramon Sessions, but like just I guess missed because Ramon Sessions was like short or something like that. But just imagine if he had made contact there.
Flagrant too, bro.
Yeah.
When Fazal and I got a chance to get an autograph from him, he kind of gave us a deer in the headlights look, like he was afraid of us, and I have no idea why. The dude is 7 feet tall. He looks like the Iron Giant.
We're a couple of short brown kids, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. His girlfriend is a Spurs fan. I just remembered he said that in an interview once.
Who's his
son? Yeah, I don't know if he's still dating her or what, but like she's from San Antonio.
I would have broken up with her.
Nah, but like you say just a Spurs player and a girlfriend, like Spurs and the girlfriend.
Eva Longoria.
No, I think of what's his face, De'Juan Blair, his girlfriend, like in 2011, whatever. She has a really nice picture. I'm not gonna go into details, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
I don't remember that.
There's paint involved.
Okay.
So yeah, it's time to go hard in the paint with that last conspiracy theory.
Hey,
Let's do it.
last one. You
Yeah.
want it?
Let's do it.
All right. It's a long one, and it's very well thought out.
All right, I'm buckling my seatbelt.
Hey.
What?
I think I'm getting close to the truth because, as I've mentioned before, when I was at the AAC,
Do I have it?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you don't know.
I don't, unfortunately. Oh, why? Because you want to watch the Lakers game?
Yeah.
Is it on
Who knows?
TNT?
No, I think it's only on NBA TV.
That's sad.
Shit, we could go to my house after this or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Make it back by halftime.
Conspiracy theory.
Okay, Falza, you got one?
No. Captain Jackass.
Yeah, let's do it.
if you got one, you go ahead. I'm kind of hogging the theories here. I don't know if you guys had any.
I just want to get back, you know.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So here's my big one. The Mavericks have not been very good lately, and I think I know why. In recent years, Mark Cuban has gotten a lot more busy. Therefore, Mark must delegate responsibility elsewhere to help his team function. Who better to choose than the guys who are at every single game? The maniacs who are running the Mavericks at the moment. Cuban is too busy with Shark Tank, Access TV, and trying to be president to bother running the Mavs. The maniacs are the ones who decided to sign Powell for like $40 million, Wesley to 70, and they forced Carlisle to play JJ 35 minutes a day.
Hey, I'm sorry to our listeners. I just ear raped you, but that was hilarious. Keep going.
So you guys broke up for a minute. I'm gonna keep going here. They also had a hand. All right, so if you guys saw the alternate uniforms that came out, they got leaked, the really ugly ones.
Yeah.
Oh god.
The
Yeah, those are maniacs.
Yeah. Hey, that makes sense, man. We've seen from their style that they just like to push the envelope without even mailing it, man.
Yeah. And the reason they're doing this is that the maniacs are drawing more attention to themselves as being the only bearable thing about the Mavericks these days. The ultimate goal.
That bearable.
Well, no, I wouldn't say much is, but my favorite part is always the maniacs, and I think that their ultimate goal is to replace the cheerleaders and or become the recurring halftime show act. And it would make sense because if you saw today's halftime show, I mean, it was pretty bad. So I think that was another decision by the maniacs. I think they want a bigger role in this team.
Dude, I'm sold, man. I'm sold. That explains why JJ's been playing so much.
I'll believe that.
Hey, dude, I'm buying in. I mean, those dance routines can't take like more than 30 minutes to put together. I mean, I don't know much about dancing, but that's just my guess.
Well, with the maniacs, like today, for example, we saw the last shot of the Mavericks game was freaking a 2-pointer when they were down 3. I think those are only. I can't. Rick Carlisle didn't make that decision. Mark Cuban didn't make it. It had to be the guys up there dancing, the big guys. It's the only way I can explain that one.
Oh yeah, they're whispering from behind the bench for sure. I think that explains why Nerlens isn't down either.
Yeah, they want him to gain a little bit more weight. They want Nerlens to be on the Maniacs too.
Yeah, man.
All the assistant coaches, they've got earpieces in, and it's just maniacs giving instructions.
Yeah, the only thing they're telling them is just dance like a maniac over and over.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it's their hate for chafed nipples that isn't allowing Seth Curry to be in the lineup. I think it makes a lot of sense.
All joking aside, though, I'm gonna straight up admit I think I am the biggest Maniacs fan. When I was at the game and those guys started dancing, man, I was going crazy. I love those guys.
Oh yeah. Do you sit like close to the court?
It was close enough where I had a great view of the Maniacs.
I envy that. The only games that I've had really good seats were the game that Dirk passed. I think it was Hakeem. It was against Sacramento. I was right behind the basket.
Oh yeah.
But for Dirk's 30K game, I had a great seat, and I got to see the shot straight on. So I loved that moment. But whenever I see the Maniacs play, it's always from the nosebleeds.
For that Dirk game, did you get the tickets before or after people kind of had an inclination he was going to get the 30,000?
I got it once it was clear that was going to be the game.
Like the ticket price is probably jacked up too.
Oh no, it was $80 for platinum level seating.
Oh.
Yeah, I just got a really benevolent resale ticket.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was looking like it was really hard to find tickets that day, but I was looking and even like for nosebleeds it was like $70. I'm like, yes, I'd love to see Dirk, but I don't want to pay $70 to sit like near the roof of the building.
We went to the Nets game, all three of us, like a couple days beforehand.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no, it was that game after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Didn't we lose that game?
No, we won.
I think we won.
Okay.
But Nerlens didn't play that game either. And he was like the one reason I wanted to go watch that game.
That game was
Didn't even
closer
play.
than it had to be.
Yeah, Karis
Yeah, for
LeVert
sure.
like went off that game.
Yeah, Isaiah Whitehead too. Alright, sorry if any of you guys are Cowboys fans. The Buccaneers are still losing against the Falcons. We need them to win.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I do not give two shits about football, so it's just going over my
Yeah,
head right
fuck football unless it's the Cowboys.
there. Yeah, we're gonna lose like 3 viewers right now. This is actually just off the top of my head. But where are the Nets right now in the standings? They're at the bottom, right?
No, they're doing a little better.
Are they still in the playoff hunt?
I don't know about that, but they're not like garbage.
Okay.
They are 11th in the East. The only teams behind them are the Hornets, Magic, Bulls, and Hawks.
So they're
Wow.
5th to last. Wow.
Okay.
Not bad though.
Hey, if
Why
they
are
had,
the Magic 3rd to last? Didn't they start the season like 9-2 or something like that?
yeah, they did.
It was one of those freak things, honestly.
Oh yeah, Aaron Gordon had like a 44-point game or something in the second game.
Oh my God! And what a epic collapse that was. They're on a 5-game losing skid.
Yeah.
The Bulls have won 5 straight, so it looks like the Mavericks are right there at the very bottom then for the first pick.
Yeah, I think they're either second worst or third worst team in the league right now. So we're making use of that last year of the current lottery rules in place. So
Yeah, the Hawks just went tonight as well, so I'm pretty happy.
yeah, man, the number 1 pick this year would be amazing. I mean, even top 3 pick, you'll get a really good player.
Ooh, they're playing Derek Harper highlights.
He was a baller.
Yeah, man. Even when he went to New York. But he and Rolando Blackman put the team on their back.
Yeah, I know. Those 80s teams were really good.
Hey man, you know why they were so good?
Why?
Because the Maniacs didn't exist back then.
Yeah. The exclusive Maniacs. Went there to
Everybody
take a look at-
was back then. The reunion rowdies. Fun times.
We weren't even alive today.
I know.
Yeah, dude. I think all three of us. I just hit my mic. I apologize to our listeners. Yeah, we were all born like the year before Dirk was drafted.
Yeah.
I think Fossil may be the only one that. Yeah, Fossil's 96.
Yeah, I mean Dirk has literally played as long as I've been alive, so I don't know what it's like to not have Dirk.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Especially at 21 years, it's nuts.
I know.
He indicated he might be coming back for next season, so that's nice.
I mean, he's averaging what, 14 points?
I'm not sure.
That's not bad.
I think he's only averaging like 11 something, but yeah, he's been playing well recently. Like I think he scored 18 against the Spurs. He had like 18 or 19 against the Warriors. So I don't know what he had tonight, but he's shooting well right now.
Yeah, and his son Maxi had 21.
Yeah. You know what's funny is his son is actually named Max. Like his actual son, not Kleba, but like his actual son is named Max. So there's a conspiracy theory for you. He must have put Max on some steroids or something, and got him to grow like 25 years in 1 year. He's already in the NBA.
There's actually a conspiracy theory right there. What if Dirk took a pay cut so that part of that money went to like development of a time machine? They went into the future, got Max Nowitzki, and put him onto the team as Maxi Kleber.
Or if any of you guys are Dragon Ball Z fans, he took his son Max, put him in the hyperbolic time chamber. I don't know if you guys are gonna get that, but it's just I had
I think one or two of our viewers will get it, but it's just gone over my head.
the Reddit account, the one. If he's happens to be watching right now, by some chance he would get it.
Oh, our Mavericks?
Yeah.
Hey, I can't say his name because I don't want to get rid of his secret identity. But yeah, I'll definitely when I clip this later on tomorrow, I'll send him this clip. All right. So, last words, anybody? Otherwise, I'm just gonna end on the Dirk Nowitzki fellatio.
I feel like we end every podcast that way.
Hey, dude, I'm gonna do it until he announces his retirement.
I just want to say, gentlemen, thank you for inviting me on. It was a good time.
Yeah, man.
It's always nice to be asked to go on the podcast and stuff. One of my first times ever doing this, so I thought it went smooth, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, that was really fun.
Yeah, despite the technical difficulties, it was definitely probably the highlight of this podcast, having you on. So
yeah, anytime you do business with me, expect technical difficulties 100% of the time.
Anytime we do business with anyone, technical difficulties. Yeah. Will you be releasing any new YouTube videos anytime soon?
I'm sorry?
Will you be releasing any new YouTube videos anytime soon?
Maybe. It's really, as of recently, it's whenever I get really upset. I think the last time I got really upset, it was like a Mavericks loss, maybe the Clippers or something. I can't remember what it was, but if the Mavericks ever have any grueling losses, I will probably make a YouTube video. Just YouTube stuff. I'm on Twitter. That's pretty much the gist of it for now.
Definitely, and they can find you at Captain_Jackass YT. And Captain
if you
doesn't
go on
have
Twitter and
AI.
just look up Captain Jackass, I'm sure I'll be on there. But
Yeah,
it'll be easy. It'll be easy to find me.
definitely, man. Hey, I'm really glad that we got you on. I mean, you're only our second guest, but I remember the first time I saw your video was the 2014 playoffs when we were playing Houston, and I was just like, damn, this dude is a character, and he's very entertaining. Very entertaining.
That whole season, I talked up such a big game. The Mavericks gonna win the title. The Mavericks are the best team in the league. The Rockets is the worst team I've ever seen. And then the Mavericks go out there and get absolutely demolished. So it was tough. I had to swallow my pride a little bit, but believe me, I was genuinely pissed off. The Mavericks couldn't even Rondo quit in the middle of the series. I mean, it was just terrible. It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
It was a pretty dark time, man.
Yeah. Hey, at least they didn't bring out the brooms, right?
Oh god.
Yeah, there was not. I can tell there was not a lot of acting involved.
No, yeah, you can tell people what you want. Oh yeah, I'm just doing it to be funny, which I am, but at the same time, I was pissed. I was genuinely pissed off.
Yeah.
Totally enjoyed your choice of masks, though.
Oh yeah, your costuming is on point. That red help. 100%.
Yeah, the $2 party sitting mask, definitely an economical choice for YouTube.
Absolutely. And you have what, probably a couple 100,000 views on those videos, so go you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely. You have a nice night, man.
All right, man. Take care.
You too, boys.
All right, so I guess it is time to give our tribute to Dirk Nowitzki. So, like I was saying earlier, I went to the 30K game, and seeing the entire building going the way that it was kind of solidified in my mind that I'm not the only one that feels that way about Dirk.
Yeah, I think safe to say that's pretty accurate. I mean, Dirk means the world to us, and like I said earlier on, I don't know what it's like to not have Dirk, be there in my life. He's been playing as long as I've been alive and as long as we all have been alive. So, now unfortunately I've kind of had to face the reality of, well, what's next? His time is coming to an end pretty soon. But, every game that we can get from him is
is a fun time and just here to enjoy the last couple of years of it.
The last time I really ever truly had a good cry in my life was when I was 18. And a couple years have passed since then, in between. I'm 21 now. And every now and then, I guess, I'll have a few tears escape for whatever reason. But no, I haven't really ever cried much since once when I was 18. But whenever Dirk ends up retiring, oh, there's going to be a lot of tears.
Yeah.
I'm just going to straight up admit it.
Yeah, man, like, I was pretty upset when Kobe retired. Like, I didn't handle that really well, so can only imagine what happens when Dirk retires.
Absolutely.
And he's pretty much the last player of that generation, so
yeah,
it's going to be a sad day.
I want to leave on an uplifting note because I know there was a lot of depression there, and there's going to be a lot of sad thoughts when he does announce his retirement, whenever that is. But I think we as millennials, as Dallasites of our age, are really, really lucky that this NBA legend just happened to be drafted to Milwaukee and then traded to Dallas right around the time where we were born, played his best years during our youth, and that we got to see him climb that mountain right around when we were reaching the end of our adolescence.
Agreed, man. I always say everything happens for a reason, and I've said this before too, like, I don't think I chose to be a Dirk fan. Dirk chose me to be a fan. It all worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
It all worked out really well. So honestly, like, I wouldn't have had it any other way. All the struggle, I felt like I struggled with. I really felt that. All the disappointments, the first round exits, but all like the individual triumphs, all the scoring achievements, everything, and then we finally won in 2011, and like, what a great feeling that was.
Dirk will always, I don't think anybody who ever comes along in my life, like as far as athletes go, I don't think anybody will ever top Dirk. This is basically the greatest time to be a Mavericks fan for me personally. I don't know what's going to be going on, 10, 20, 30, however many years from now, but as of right now, right here, there's no other team, no other person I'd rather root for than Dirk, and it's probably never going to change.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the whole package, like everything you'd want from your favorite player. He's just perfect because he's such a great guy. He's had no off the court issues of his own. He's just like a funny person, amazing character, and just a great player too. All that together, you never have anybody that embodies all those qualities. So I don't really know. I'm just at a loss for words at this point. Like,
I mean, he's not dying, but I mean,
in the basketball sense, he is dying because we're not gonna see him that much anymore because he's already. Hopefully, he does make an effort to come out in public a little bit more once he retires because I think the fans would love that, man. Like, I mean, I know I would, just to be able to know that he's out and about and doesn't just go back into like being a hermit. That would be awesome to see.
No Star Wars spoilers, but kind of like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki is funny, relatable, soft-spoken, humble. There are just so many traits that I idealize in him as an athlete, and I just want to end on the note of thank you, Dirk Nowitzki, for making us Mavericks fans for life. Without Dirk Nowitzki, there would be no hashtag. There would be no cult. Because without Dirk Nowitzki, the Mavs would have been in the lottery probably every year.
Yeah, they would have never recovered from the 90s, I can tell you that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Dirk has inspired so much, has allowed me to, like, believe in the impossible and believe in myself even when things didn't really seem to be going my way. And, honestly, I can remember every single night in middle school, elementary school, high school, where I'd just finish all my homework so that I could get home and just watch the Mavs game that night. I planned my day around that, and man, those are some really, really good times.
As you grow older, the people who you consider to be your heroes, you learn that they're human, and Dirk, we've seen every now and then moments where he's definitely human, but unlike so many other people, Dirk remains no less, he remains a hero. His legend has never really been diminished by anything, and that's just we're going on for 2 decades now. Like that's so exceedingly rare. Like to get that sort of spirit and soul, you know. I'm really gonna miss Dirk when it's all said and done, but I'm happy we got all this time to be with him on the Mavs. That was so cheesy. That was like some Naruto shit, man. But
No,
I mean,
man.
I agree. Like back in the day, like you never thought, Dirk was like 29, 30, 31. Like you never thought that we'd be coming to this day because it seemed like he would just play forever. And in basketball terms, he has played forever, and he still is gonna play for one more year. But it's just like now. I mean, obviously things aren't the same anymore. Like the Mavs aren't good, and he's not as good as he used to be. So you just end up reflecting a lot. Like there's so many nights where I'm just up before I sleep. I'm just watching, classic Dirk games and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, where did the time go? Like I remember what I was doing during all of these moments. It's just like, yeah.
I'll end it on this note. There are a lot of tumultuous things going on in the world right now. I'm not going to get into politics. I'm not going to get into any of that. But Charles Barkley, the Inside the NBA crew, do this so well. Basketball brings people together. Basketball takes us from where we are to a place where we want to be. And when we see good basketball, when we see a good playoff series, it's better than anything. Even when it's not a team that I like. I was watching the Lakers-Bulls game, and the Lakers came back in the fourth quarter of that game, and it was so fun to watch. When the Lakers and Knicks went toe-to-toe and went into overtime, Lonzo Ball had a good 3-minute stretch where, although no defense was played on either team's part, he kind of tore up the Knicks. It was so fun to watch, even though I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm not a Knicks fan. So, absolutely, basketball is basketball. Good basketball is worthy of respect. And Dirk Nowitzki is a legend no matter what. That's a shout out to Colin Cowherd, who said he's not top 50 all time after he got 30K. Colin Cowherd does not know basketball. He speaks in platitudes.
Colin Cowherd is a coward.
He is a coward. Meet me in Temecula, bro. Anyways, when we post this on YouTube tomorrow on the Reunion Lights channel, I will have tags and timestamps for each one of our discussions. You can join our Discord. You can follow us on Twitter. Please join us next month for our next episode. We don't have a guest lined up yet, but we will have a little more educated roundtable discussion. It'll be less memey, but we had to fit not only our own need for a little bit of comedic relief, but also our special guest this week. So thank you again to Captain Jackass for joining, and you all have a good night.
Oh wait, one more thing though.
Okay.
So Christmas Day, I'm gonna have a little video coming out, and I will totally, publicize it, put it out there on Twitter. And I hope, just if you ever see something retweeted onto your timelines about, like, just a little something related to Dirk, definitely consider watching, because not to toot my own horn, but totally doing that, it's going to be good. You guys are if you're a Mavericks fan, you're really going to enjoy watching it. Even if you're not, you're going to enjoy watching it.
Also puts out good digital content, so
Absolutely.
He's not lying.
And I saw the first cut of it, and it was already really good. So he's been sitting on it for now like a month or two now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fantastic when it releases, and I'm not hyping that up the least bit. So once again, thank you, and please join us next month for our next episode. Y'all have a good night.